All right, hey guys, let's finish off this week in Algebra 2 by graphing some absolute value functions. This is a graph that looks like a V. It's got arrows on both ends. Okay, and this is going to be done on paper, not on Delta Math. So that might make it a little bit easier for some of you guys. Okay? So we have a function that's similar to our square root functions. We have a, negative h, and k again. And I'm going to go through these in a minute again. The a helps us reflect it over the x-axis. It also helps us vertically stretch, vertically shrink the graph. The h is a horizontal shift. Remember that it has a inverse relationship. So if it's a negative, you move it to the right. If it's a positive, you move it to the left. On the far end of the equation is the k, and that is the vertical shift. It has a direct relationship. So if it's positive, it goes up. If it's negative, it goes down. One of the things that might be a little difficult to see is that there are these two little bars right there. And those are the absolute value bars that make this graph different from, say, a square root or a cube root graph that you would have done late last week. Okay? All right, so let's take a look at what a, h, and k do again, or the basic stuff of a absolute value graph. As I mentioned a minute ago, your graph is going to be in a V shape. We're going to use h and k to find a vertex. So we'll have a starting point at hk, and then we'll move based on a. A is going to act as a slope. And so if you remember, slope is rise over run. Okay? And then once we figure out where to start and how to move, we'll graph 5 total points. We'll have a V graph. So basically, we'll have a point that's a vertex. We'll use a slope to go up and right, like that. And then basically, you'll come and fill in the left-hand side, and you'll have a little V shape. And that's the graph of an absolute value function. Okay? So let me show you. I think I've got four or five graphs to show you some different variations. So on this number 1, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit on it so you can get a better look. All right, so here is our h and our k. So what that's doing for us is it gives us a 3, 4 vertex. Okay, h has an inverse relationship, so you have to change the sign of it as it comes out. So here it's a -3, but over here it's a +3. That's the inverse relationship of h that I keep talking about. So this is our vertex. This is where we're going to start graphing the problem. So let's go graph 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the vertex. Next, we'll look for A. A is going to be right here. That right there. Let's see what kind of room I have. Here, A will be 1. If there's nothing else there, it's going to be a +1. So what that does is it gives us a 1 over 1, or a rise over run of 1 over 1. So we'll go from our vertex. We're going to go up 1, right 1. That's going to be our second point. We'll go up 1, right 1 again. That's the right-hand side of the graph. And then the left-hand side just mirrors that. So if we went up 1, we're going to go left 1, up 1, left 1, finishes off the absolute value graph. So what we see here is on this side you have a slope of 1, and on this side you have a slope of -1. So the A value up here is going to give you the slope that you're going to use. And so we use that to get the right-hand side of the graph. And then we mirror the left-hand side of the graph with the same slope but a negative value. So I'm going to just dot these a little bit darker so that you can see them. And that's the absolute graph. Absolute value graph of absolute value of x minus 3 plus 4. So let's try another one. I'll show you both of them at the same time. All right. So here, this number 1 problem had a 3 as the h. When we look at problem number 2, what's the number that's inside here with x? Well, over here it was negative 3, but over here there is not a number. So that would be a 0. That's the h, and the k is going to be 4. Slide that over a little bit. So we have a vertex at 0, 4. That's 0 left to right. Go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our vertex. In front of the function right here is a equals 1. So we'll use that as a slope. So from the vertex, you go up 1, right 1. Up 1, right 1. I'm asking you to graph 5 points. So that's 3 of the 5 points. So we'll just mirror these 2 points on the left-hand side. So instead of going right 1, we'll go left 1, up, and left 1. And those are the 5 points that you need to graph absolute value. Delta Math doesn't do a very good job of graphing absolute value, so we chose not to use Delta Math for this Thursday assignment. All right, let's look at 2 more, how they differ. All right, so we need a vertex. So inside the absolute value bar is a negative 4. That's your h. So we'll pull that out and change its sign. Outside the absolute value, you do not have a value at all. So that value is 0. So that ordered pair is over here. In front of the function is a negative. A negative reflects the graph over the x-axis. And so how we're going to use that is a negative 1 for slope, which is the right-hand side. It's the right-hand side of the graph. So we'll, from the vertex, use the slope, negative 1. So we go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. That's a negative 1 slope. And then again, we'll mirror. We're going to mirror this on the other side. So we'll have a point here, and we'll have a point there, which gives us a nice V shape for the absolute value graph. Lost my pin top. Okay, so that had a negative in front of it as an A value. So that right-hand side slope over here became negative 1. And that is the connection. These two right here are the same. So the right-hand side is what gets that initial slope. And then you mirror it on the left-hand side. All right, this is the last problem I have for you today. This is a pretty quick lesson. Get a vertex. What's the vertex? Negative 2, negative 1. Change the sign of the number on the inside. That's your H. So it becomes negative 2. Keep the sign of the K. That's the negative 1. So let's plot that down the third quadrant. Negative 2, negative 1. Let's find the slope of the right-hand side. The slope is 2 over 1. Remember, this is the right side. So from the vertex, we're going to go up 2, 1, 2, right 1, 1, 2, right 1. So it's a little steeper with a slope of 2. And so we'll mirror that. We'll go up 2, left 1, up 2, left 1. So you got 5 points. 5 points. And that's how you graph absolute value. So with that being said, your assignment is a worksheet. The worksheet has about 25, 30 questions on it. So please make sure you only do problems 1 through 10. I do not think we need both of these on there. So answers will be loaded to the blog later on Thursday. You guys have a great day. I look forward to hearing from you soon.